Welcome to the AgeFit MD podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Z. And if you want to know how to be maximally successful with aging fit over time, you've got to have a plan and you've got to have something that's simple and allows you to succeed with consistency. And I'm going to go over that today. So let's get started. When I talk to my patients about aging fit, they often come to me and say, Doc, I'm busy. I really want to make a change in my life. Either I used to be fit and I stopped, or I've been a lifelong athlete my whole life, but I keep getting hung up on some of my injuries. It feels like some of the things that I do are making me worse and not better. Can you just boil down to the basic essence of what will allow me to be successful, that I can do on a consistent basis, and I can still have my job, I can still tend to my family, it's not too oppressive in my life? What do you recommend? So what I've done is I've come up with a sort of 6-tiered strategy that I've given to my patients that has been very successful because it's the minimal that you have to do, it allows you to be consistent, and we try to take the complexity out of it. So let me go through each one of the aspects and I'll highlight a little bit, but in general, things I emphasize for my patients are the importance of supplements and nutrition, the importance of stretching, focus stretching, and I'll get into that, strength training, specifically resistance training, stamina training, mainly intervals, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. Not forgetting about self-care techniques, which is aimed towards injuries, things like a TENS unit, inversion table, etc. Also some cognitive behavioral and meditation type practices that can really help with anxiety, depression, being optimistic. And the last one is sleep, taking it as the most serious regenerative phase of your day and not just, oh, I've got to go to bed, shut off the phone, lay in bed for an hour and let my head spin. So let me break down each one as part of this plan and highlight some of the importance. And we're going to get into some really good details down the road, but I wanted to give you a framework to work from, something that you can look at and tell yourself, I can do this, this is doable, I can integrate this into my life. So the first one is, I'm passionate about supplements. And the reason is a number of reasons. One is, I'm busy, you're busy. There's no way I can stand in the kitchen and chop vegetables and cook 1,000 chicken breasts and make my meals every day and be consistent. I try that and I fail. The other is the amount of nutritional content in our food has been shown to be steadily decreasing over time. We know that our soil is depleted. We know that the nutrient content of what is in food today is very different than it was 100 years ago. We've had changes in agriculture where we've selected for certain seeds that put out a higher output with a lower nutrient content. So we know for sure that we're getting less nutrients in our natural food. And the other thing I'm passionate about with supplements is that if there's no way that I can gauge exactly what my body needs every day, but if I can give my body more than it needs without worrying about toxicity issues as opposed to less than it needs, then I'm always going to pick more than it needs. And people have countered me and said, well, you're just going to excrete it out of your body, it's a waste. Well, so what? If I don't get enough, then my body's not getting everything it needs, and I'm not going to be functioning at its optimal level. And if you look at every single elite athlete in the world, everybody's on some sort of supplement regimen. So for all those reasons and more, I'm passionate about supplements, and it's sort of a non-negotiable aspect. The other thing is that if I can get my patients to have one meal a day, if they can just say to me, I will take the supplements my first meal of the day, then at least I've gotten one good meal in them. And many times they have none. So one highly nutritious, nutrient-dense meal is better than none, and multiple spread throughout the day is optimal. But again, supplements are key. I'm going to get into the specifics on that later, but if you talk to any competitive bodybuilder and you say to them, what's more important, training or nutrition? They always say nutrition. Without the nutrition, you can't build a body that is lean and muscular, and it's more important than the training itself. The next is the stretching that I'm going to teach you in later podcasts and content is really oriented around not just stretching your muscles, but stretching the joint capsules and the discs of your body and the connective tissue. As we age, those joint capsules tend to remodel over time, and they narrow the joint space that you have, and the fluid that's in there tends to get narrower and narrower. And over time, we can start to rub those surfaces, and then you start getting prone to degenerative arthritis. Even if you have arthritis, if I can convince my patients to get on a regular stretching regimen that focuses on the joint capsules and the spine and the neck, they feel better. And I don't have any definitive proof as to why this is, meaning studies and that kind of thing, but I feel that what's happening is that joint capsule's opening up, there's more synovial fluid in there, there's less of that rubbing going on, and the patients feel better. So this is something that is a mandatory every single day. You've got to have a focused stretching routine, especially around your areas of injury. The next is alternating between strength and stamina. On the strength side, you have to be doing resistance exercises, especially if you're a woman. As we get older, we get prone to bone density loss, especially in women because their hormones are different than ours. And your bones are not going to get strong unless they see resistance on them. You can take all the vitamin D and calcium you want, but if you're not straining those bones and putting them under load, your body's not going to react by laying down more bone density. And I can tell you that one of the most catastrophic injuries I see are people that have what is called pathologic fractures, where they fall and they break their bones into multiple pieces. And they're often shot because they're typically thin white women that are into yoga and walking, but they don't do the resistance exercise, and it's pretty catastrophic. So resistance exercise is a must. On those alternate days, working on your stamina, I like to push the high intensity interval training, and we'll get into more details of what you should do and how you should break it up. But basically, interval training allows you to go into your anaerobic zone and then aerobic, into anaerobic and aerobic. And that's what's going to stimulate your heart, your vascular system, your lungs to improve its output. And unless you get in that anaerobic zone, you're not going to get benefit. On the self-care, often my patients are shocked at how helpful small items like a TENS unit or an inversion table or a Theracane or cupping and meditation can be in their life, but it's absolutely a must. If you want details on it, go to my website. I talk about each one of these items, but don't forget about using these items to kind of break that pain cycle, because a lot of times if you can just get in there, if you get a chronic injury and you can break that pain cycle, you're gonna be a lot fitter and a lot healthier, and I'll get into more details later on that. And the last one is sleep. This is the most regenerative phase of your day. This is when you secrete growth hormone. This is when the healing and recuperation comes in. And too many people just treat it as an afterthought. So I encourage you to have a defined sleep routine that you engage in every single day, where you set your mind right, you take some melatonin and magnesium at night, you get into some gentle stretching, and you assure that you get that restorative, deep stage 4 sleep that too many of us don't have. And you get that solid growth hormone release, and you wake up refreshed and ready to attack the next day. It's one of the most important things people just blow off, and we need to have a specific routine centered around really 6 to 8 hours of your day, which deserves special attention. So that's the framework that I encourage my patients to focus on. Consistency is key, and by making it simple, your chances of success go up tenfold. So I hope you found that helpful. If you want to print off the PDF, go to our website. I'll have a PDF for you to print off. And we're going to continue to put out this content with the hope of educating you and empowering you so that you can make the best healthcare decisions possible for you, and you're guaranteed to age fit and healthy.